This is Wandering Universe. Today we're going to explore a new island that shows a historic past connection with Rapa Nui or Easter Island. This island we will explore today is called Marquesas Island. So sit back, fold your tray tables away, put your seat upright because we're about to go exploring. Let's go. Here we are. Now this is a satellite image of the Marquesas Islands, as you can see. Next one. This is the locator map of the Marquesas Islands. So as you can see, it's in the Polynesia region. And that's Easter Island here. And the islands, I think Marquesas Islands is somewhere around here. Okay, not where the Cook Islands are, but it'd be somewhere around here somewhere there. Yep, that's right. So it's there, Marquesas Islands. Finally found it. Thank you. Okay, and the next one is just a close-up view of the individual islands that make up Marquesas Islands. So Marquesas Islands is situated in the French Polynesia region, a small cluster of islands in the Pacific Ocean. The island itself consists of a group of volcanic islands in French Polynesia, and these islands are extremely remote. Now, this is the bay area of Marquesas Island. Yes, I know. Gorgeous, isn't it? Quite opulent paradise. Tempted to go for a holiday one of these days. This may entice you too. And this is the beach side. Okay, so if you want to spend some time in the sun, sand and surf, to get away from the hustle and bustle of everyday life, well, this place may be for you. Okay. So during the 10th century AD, or roughly 900 to 100 AD, Polynesians came from the west, probably from the island of Samoa, settled on these islands. Marquesas Island is 1,370 kilometers northeast of Tahiti and 4,800 kilometers west of Mexico. The largest island known is called Nuku Hiva, also called Motu Iti. It covers 1,049 square kilometers, and most of the islands are volcanic in origin. Now I'm going to show you, this is an extinct volcano. That's one of them on the island. Now, Marquesas Islands lie above a submarine volcanic plateau that is about less than 5 million years old. Surprising. This plateau was formed with the Inca Plateau subducting under northern Peru. Now, that's very interesting. So there could have been a landmass underneath the island where during the Ice Age and before the Ice Age, people from South America would have walked over to discover these land masses that exist today. So the islands that you see at the moment are around 1.3 million to 6 million years old, and I'll show you another picture of an extinct volcano. Yes, quite magnificent in size, and they are very much so. These volcanoes occurred around the Pliocene age from 2.48 to 1.58 million years ago. The Marquesas hotspot is a volcanic hotspot in the southern Pacific Ocean. Now here is the chart. Now these red dots, as you can see here, are indicating the volcanic hotspots that surround this area, as you can see here. So most of them would be extinct. Some of them would still be erupting. I know that Easter Island is there. I think that's one of them. There is another volcano still active near Chile. If you go up close on Google Maps, you'll see it there. I actually saw one that erupted. It had smoke, very thick smoke plume. That really, filled up in the sky, so you can see it from the satellite photo. But that was very interesting. So as you can see, all these hotspots here, some of them were once volcanoes, but some would still be extinct, some would still be erupting under water. And yes, there are such things as underwater volcanoes, that when they erupt, the plates open up and then lava spews out of that. So that's a quite interesting chart if you like to study further into it. Now, these formed the Marquesas Islands, 8 main islands on the Pacific. It was formed between 5.5 to about 0.4 million years ago. Now I'm going to show you, this is the capital, or should I say one of the islands on Marquesas, called Nukuhiva. And yes, it's very tropical, isn't it? I'm really tempted to go on a holiday, actually, more than just a holiday. I want to go to, an exploration expedition, so I should do myself a favor. Yes. Okay, and this is another one. This is what you're going to see. If you're going to go over there, this is what you're going to find. This is the Nukuhiva statues on Marquesas Island. Now, Nukuhiva, which is the largest island in the Marquesas, houses ancient structures, as you can see, to do with Polynesian culture, such as the famous Tiki and Moai statue. The stone statues are called Tuhiva. These, the largest stone structures on the island, and have nowhere else in the French Polynesia. Lush vegetation in the valley hides these ancient wonders within the deep jungle terrain. The island's largest archaeological site is Tohua Cueva. Okay, so I'm going to show you another photo. So yes, big eyes, big, full lips, wide noses, big bellies. And notice these hands positions, especially on this statue here. I'll get to that in a minute. I'll get to that in a minute. This one looks like he's riding on something. Could it be a spaceship? Interesting. Okay. Here's another one. Yes. Now, you must be thinking, it looks like one of the Moai statues on Easter Island or Rapa Nui. Yes, you guessed it. It does, doesn't it? Very similar in features, structure, and design. Very interesting. These stone structures are depicted like gods, chiefs, and animal features, as you can see here. So for some reason, they carve them out in an image of them. Now I'm going to show you another photo. This is more of these godlike figures. They say, this is according to mainstream theory, that they were worshipped like gods for religious significance. I don't think so. I think it was for something else. But I can give you an educated guess on that later on. Now, if you want to know where these are called Mi Fe Poto Hiva Oa statues. It's on the Hiva Oa island somewhere in the Marquesas. So if you want to go over there and have a look at them, you're most welcome to. A number of stone statues are called Tuhiva. The name itself calls as an ancient site that contained many large stone carvings overlooking the bay. The Pepe stone platforms hold up the ancient Tiki statues, just like the ones you see on Easter Island, art objects that take on human form of some shape, which are made from similar natural mineral elements discovered on Easter Island. Okay, so this is another extinct volcano. It's called the Hatshay Bay in Nukuhiva. So this is another extinct volcano. Now, my guess is, but you can look this up for further information. My guess is that the minerals on this particular volcano and several others could possibly have basalt and scorio, which is a red rock tuff, that is very similar to Easter Island. So I reckon the underwater land masses would have been bridges to connect the islands when our ancestors used to trek on them during the Ice Age and before that. So I reckon it's made of similar minerals, believe it or not. So, but it'd be interesting to check out that information, whether it's correct or not. So you can do your own research on that one. Apparently one moai was donated by the Rapa Nui people to the people of Nukuhiva. Why? What was their spiritual connection with these statues? Did the Marquesas people sail all the way over to Rapa Nui on a reconnaissance mission to simply check it out? Is it? Okay, now this might blow your mind a little bit. Yes, recognize this? This is actually a moai sitting on the Marquesas Island, okay, on Nukuhiva, believe it or not. Now, they said it was transported over way back by the Rapa Nui people over as a gift to the Marquesas Polynesian people on the island. Really? You know, those things are very, very heavy, but I'll get into that in a sec. Now, that's a frontal view of this moai statue. Now, here's a side view. Yes, long ears, long big noses. What did I say about, you know, big noses? Yes, thin lips, kind of pouty. Big chins, long head, kind of Asian looking eyes too. And kind of slender, slopey shoulders. And standing very tall and straight, very serious looking. And notice here there's a bit of a crack around the neckline. Now, I don't know if that's to do with environmental changes or there was a bit of earth movement going on the island. I don't know. But this is quite intriguing, don't you think? Was it simply just it toppled over one time and then someone just picked it up and just placed it back on top of its shoulders, you know, as the old saying, get your head back on your shoulders? Is it possible? I mean, you got to remember that these things are very, very heavy. So how is it possible, you may ask? How on earth do they transport these incredibly heavy load onto their big hull canoes all the way to Marquesas Islands? They weigh 10 to 80 tons and they are 12 to 30 feet tall. You need more than a forklift to haul these big beasties onto the canoes. I mean, trust me, you do. So, the plot thickens. Intrigue, suspense, mystery. There is an ancient archaeological site which is called Temia Toha that contain many strange stone statues. Could depict otherworldly beings illustrating their persona as they were. These ancient inhabitants were called Nauka Hiva. Now, okay, you ready for this? Right, here it is. Okay, yeah, interesting, isn't it? How they look, you know, big long heads, big eyes, wide noses, full pouted lips, and look at the position of their hands. Okay, look at the expression on that one and that one. You know, it's one of those monkey see, monkey do pictures that you see on the internet. Yes, and look at this one leaning over. It's kind of like one of those high school photos, high school end of year photos, you know, where everybody sits in a row, stands tall in the back rows and face the front and try not to giggle or pull a face. Well, it looks like one of those. Yes, so this is interesting, isn't it? That they found this on the island. And here's another one. Okay, yes, same statues, same figures. Look at this one. This looks like probably a captain on board a little ship or some sort of, you know, shuttle pod, as you may know in Star Trek or Star Trek Enterprise, and is carrying on board 2 passengers probably part of the crew. And this one is probably bringing over some sort of equipment and some sort of animal with it too. Now, whether that's depicting the Polynesian people themselves, how they lived their lives on the island and what they do with their day-to-day activities, or it could be just an alien being from another world that is about to do a reconnaissance surveying research on the land. So this gets quite peculiarly interesting. Now, these particular statues were not carved by the Polynesian settlers themselves some 2,000 years ago. It is possibly settlers were from Samoa who brought knowledge of the ancients over with them and told their version of events, as you can see here. Can it be possible that they know or knew of these ancient alien encounters or alien settlements they viewed from a distance at one time, right? Now, here's another photo. Now, this one's dated 100 years old, this photo, and this is 100 years later. So there's been a lot of deterioration through environmental factors, and you know, like wind, rain, and the elements, and as you can see, some of it's just deteriorating here over time. That is normal. Now, according to some archaeologists and scientists, it is believed the Polynesian settlers carved and made these strange stone statues that depict beings from another galaxy or planet far, far away. Obviously, they don't look human. Okay, now get this, okay, because many do look somewhat reptilian looking. Okay, so I'm going to show you this, so hold on to your seats. Okay, as I showed you previously, they don't look human. They kind of look half, okay, and this one's got a crowned hat on its head. Okay, so quite crafty handiwork there, I must say. Now, what it gets me, which is very, very interesting, is that, you know, those skulls that have got those elongated heads, I think they found them in Peru somewhere in South America, correct me if I'm wrong, and the mainstream archaeologists have said that the tribal people wrapped their heads with cloth since birth, and then over time, as the skull, you know, grew and formed into shape, and they kept wrapping the head until it formed into an elongated skull to imitate these beings. Maybe they have something to do with their insight about the stories that were passed on of these ancient visitors, how they knew about them and what they look like. Now, I'm going to show you this. This is an ancient Polynesian chief. You can find this in the museum on, I think it's Nukuhiva on the Marquesas Island. And as you can see, looks quite attractive when you think about it. Lovely headdress and lovely gear it's wearing. That's how they looked back then, okay? And these are the instruments and tools that they brought over with them from Samoa, which is the theory. Some say they came from Peru and South America, but I don't think so. The voyage would have been quite treacherous at times if they were ambitious enough to, sail over. Believe me, it's a long way off. That's if the Peruvian people knew about the star map system without using any other instruments like a sextant or a compass or even a physical map to navigate the waters in order to find land nearby. I'm not sure if they knew that, but I believe that the Polynesian people did. Now remember, in the previous video, I did say that their original ancestry came from the Siberian ranges, probably from the southwest region of Siberia. We're talking about in between Japan, China, which used to be called Ashina, Mongolia, and near the Altai mountain region. So that's where their ancient ancestors came from. So this is where it gets very interesting. But let me tell you, they look nothing compared to this. Okay? So, think about that for a moment. Now, who were these ancient artists? Where did they come from? Were these ancient aliens traveled through light years to land on this planet to settle and grow like a community of them thousands upon thousands of years ago? Did they? Okay. Now, let's continue, shall we? Okay. Now, remember I kept saying about these hand positions? Yeah. Have a look. These hand positions. Very similar to ones on the Moai on Easter Island. Okay. Now, here's another one. Look at the hand positions again. See on each one? And very similar in facial structure. See that? Interesting. And they're wearing hats too. Now, on the Nuku Hiva, if you go to one of the islands there, I think it's in Hiva Oa or Nuku Hiva, there are several statues that look similar to this, and believe it or not, they have similar headgear as well. Okay, similar headgear. So, pretty impressive. Okay, and here's another one. Now, you ready for this? Yeah, very similar to the one that I just showed you previously. Long face, long nose, serious looking eyes, looking dead ahead, thin mouth, kind of pouting, a little bit protruding, and is standing on some sort of maybe alien spacecraft, you know, coming over, one of those little shuttle pods, or a teleportation device. Who knows? Let me tell you, it's impressive artwork, don't you think? So, most of them have big eyes. Yes, the better to see with, my dear. Short ears, long big heads, small stocky bodies, and small hands. Now that's cute, don't you think? They are not reptilian in appearance. I will repeat this again. They are not reptilian in appearance. Even ancient Sumerians depicted these types of beings as reptilian looking, but not quite so. Now, I'm going to give you a comparison. Yes, as I described here, and it looks like it's wearing some sort of spacesuit or helmet, possibly this particular being can't breathe the oxygen that we breathe, so has to wear some sort of breathing apparatus in order to trek the planet or this particular island. So that's very interesting. Now, get this. In ancient Ubad, the Ubad people saw reptile-looking people from another world around 7,000 years ago. Okay. All right. Now, here's the kicker. Check this out. Huh? Check her out. Her or him. It could be asex. You don't know. This evidence is found at the Al-Ubaid site and uncovered numerous Sumerian artifacts that date back 7,000 years ago, a mixture of humanoid and reptile figures. Now here is one of them. Okay, yes, quite reptilian looking, but human in physique. So that's very interesting. Okay, they probably had bigger brains too. So they're probably highly intelligent creatures. Here's another one. Yes. These ones, including the ones that I showed you, are found on Marquesas Island, similar to the ones in Ubad in Mesopotamia. Now, I'm going to show you more, okay? Now, this is a real sideshow, isn't it? No, this is not a freak show. Don't get me wrong. This is not a circus act. This is for real what these archaeologists have found, okay? Until this day, they still can't put their finger on it, all right? The answers to these mysterious beings, right? Yeah. Look at the eyes. Yes, they have eyes. They have noses. They have mouths. And looks like this particular humanoid reptilian being has a child, is nurturing a child or taking care of a child. Now, this is another one of from the Ubaid period. Yes, they have eyes. They're looking at you. Oh, yes, it looks like something from the Muppet Show, doesn't it? Okay, and here's another one. Yes, this is the famous stone statue of giving birth in Lipona site Hiva Oa. Okay, this is a very famous photo. And as you can see here, this is an alien being riding on some sort of shuttle pod. And once again, check out the hand positions. I keep saying that, don't I? And look what's underneath here. Sitting beneath it is some sort of depiction of some sort of animal. I'm not sure what it is. I'll let you guess for yourself. But like I said, it has nothing to do depicting the actual Polynesian settlers themselves. They're actually telling a story through an eyewitness account of what they saw from a distance, okay? Whether it was in the sky, whether they saw them on the other side of the island as they would, you know, setting up camp, whatever it may be, okay? So don't jump to conclusions just yet. This is just my hypothesis on it, okay? And I'll give you another one here. Yes. See this? Must be some sort of helmet. Yes, big eyes, long noses, pouty, full lips, long face, and wearing some sort of nice headgear there, as you can see, around its collar, some sort of not necessarily a necklace. It could be the color of its uniform. Yes, its actual uniform it was wearing at the time. Now, whoever carved them followed a pattern, a common pattern. Did these species or beings who visited here, or more than just do that, they actually settled upon the islands a long, long, long time ago, okay, and called it home for a little while. Now, here's another one. Yes, now this is a computer-generated image of what they may have looked like compared to this statue that was found in the Ubaid Mesopotamia region, as you can see here. Okay, so they would have been, I believe, highly intelligent beings. I mean, they would have carried a hell of a lot of knowledge. Now, compare the difference, huh? It's like buying insurance, isn't it? Compare the market. Now, I'm going to show you some more. Okay, this is a stone pounder that was found on the Marquesas Island, as you can see. Now, remember what I said in the previous video about the stone cutting tools made of iron, not bronze, and the ones they found on Easter Island that were made of stone. Okay, now how is it possible that you can use this type of tool to do this? Okay, now I think this was a human attempt at carving and sculpturing a depiction of these beings, but for some reason it was abandoned and it looked like it just didn't work out for them. So they had a go at it, and somehow they just thought, nah, this is not working out for me, and they just abandoned it. Okay, so project left undone. Here's another one. So, once again, big eyes, full lips, round long heads, and look at the hand positions once again. I keep saying this, I'm getting there, so just hang in there for a moment. And it's standing on platforms, as you can see. Now, look at the brickwork here. It looks very accurate, precise, very well chiseled, and it looks like it was just slotted neatly into place. Very impressive work there. Very impressive handiwork, may I say, including this. Whoever did this. Very impressive handiwork there. So, no, this is not about some sort of sex position. This is not a porn photo of some sort of sex show. Please don't let your minds get carried away. This is not about fornication of any sort. I believe this is just a teacher and a student, okay, partaking the knowledge that the student can learn from this particular being. So I'm going to show you more. This is a lone statue on Marquesas Island, and yes, the hand position once again, and they all look similar in pattern. Isn't that interesting? Okay, even the ears, even the eyes, every single one of them. So how is it possible that the ones from Easter Island or Rapa Nui were brought over by them to be placed on this island? Okay, or is it possible that these statues had to be left behind so they can bring over the knowledge onto Rapa Nui Island to start a new life, maybe? Something happened. Something went wrong with the relationship between the people on Marquesas Island, the beings that settled there, and also the beings that settled on Rapa Nui. Something went wrong. There was some sort of maybe argument, some sort of disagreement, maybe a deal gone wrong, who knows. But for some reason, these statues were just left behind as they were, including the ones on Easter Island, and then they just left. Okay, they just packed up and left. Kids went home. Okay, so I'm not sure why even mainstream archaeologists, should I say, still can't work this out. Now, what's their reason for making these statues? Was it to do with a cultural purpose, an environmental study of the planet? Was it placed purposely in specified areas that point directly towards the stars at night? Is it a star date calendar, a travel through time portal, or a compass like a highway to the galaxy? Okay, now, they're quite big, these statues. Now compare this with this. Look at the height between these two people and these mighty big beasties. Wow. Big, aren't they? Okay, you wouldn't want one of those things topple over you, would you? Now, look at the stones here on this platform. I'm going to show you something to compare. This is a real kicker, this one. So, have a look at this platform here. Okay, I'm going to show you. Now, just, keep in mind. Now, this is a petroglyph on the Marquesas Island, depicting probably a story about the ancient aliens that landed. Okay, wanted to say hi to their neighbor, have a, a home welcoming, and basically talk about who they were and pass on their knowledge. It's like, well, basically they were treated like, a new people on the block, new people to the neighborhood, okay, and they just welcomed them in. So this could be depicting the story of that, or could be something completely different, okay, so it's open for interpretation, okay. So, is it possible that the way the statues on Rapa Nui and Marquesas Islands are positioned have one thing in common? They serve as an outpost, a road sign on a freeway to know where to turn off, okay? Now, were there more than one type of species or beings that settled around the equator of this planet, okay? I'd say that there were many of them. There were many different types, many different kinds that settled around the equator of this planet, such as where the Giza pyramids are in Egypt, all the way to Cambodia, where the Angkor, I think it's called Angkor, pyramids or structures are, Punku, I think that's what it's called. That's somewhere, I think, in Peru. Correct me if I'm wrong, or in Bolivia. I'm not sure. I haven't checked it out yet, but I'll have a look at the information there in another video, and I'll do a video on that one. Apparently there are pyramids in China. Yes, there are satellite images of pyramids in China that have not been unearthed yet. That'll be like a real ripper of exploration there. And there'll be the Inca pyramids, and so on and so on. I mean, you know, the list just goes on. So there would have been many of them that did settle on around the equator of the planet, many different types, many different forms of species, just like us humans, and decided to just, you know, settle for a while, do their wanderings, explore, survey the planet, do some research, and maybe try and, you know, help out their neighbor next door, which were the clans and tribes that got a little bit funny when they looked so different from the distance, and thought, okay, we might give them a helping hand. Okay, so that would have been the type of cultural civilization that occurred around the Ice Age and way before the Ice Age. But that is my hypothesis on that. So they probably coexisted through highly advanced communication devices, far more sophisticated than what we've got today, like our mobile phones and laptops, for example. I wouldn't be surprised that even they teleported their way across the globe without needing to board a plane or a space shuttle. Yes. To be honest, I'm just getting a little bit tired of seeing airplanes and the good old space shuttle, you know, flying around the airspace. I think it's time, after 80-90 years, we should come up with far better technology to travel faster across the globe, rather than these slow cattle trucks that take forever and ages to get across from one point to another point, say an overnight flight, or even worse, from here, to get from here, for example, to go all the way to the UK takes about a day and a half. So it's tiring, those journeys by plane. I find them very tiring. It's no wonder everybody looks really tired and pale and weary by the time they get off the flight. So it's hard to look really happy and joyful to be landed. It's, you know, have landed somewhere on a new place when you're just thinking, oh God, I need some more sleep. But anyway, I think it's time we should start maybe you know, releasing better types of technology to get from one place to another in a more fast, innovative and efficient way. I think it's about time we should, and we do have the technology and the means to do it, but for some reason you know, the powers that be do not want us to have that advantage. So and believe it or not, they didn't even bring luggage on board, these aliens. I mean, why should they anyway? There's no need to bring all your stuff with you. They probably just had a little bag with them of what they needed to research, and they teleported their way somewhere else, and they got there in 5 minutes. So think of Star Trek, okay? Instead of using satellites orbiting the skies, they communicated to their home worlds using a very highly advanced probe that sent and received messages from other worlds. Now, going to show you something else. Okay, now remember what I said in the previous photo, the platforms? Aha! Very similar in style. Look at that. Very similar. Okay, very, very similar. So I'm going to show you this. See that? See that? Ah, okay. There is a connection. There is a very significant connection here. Okay? They were there. They traveled around. Okay? They settled in these places and they knew how to, set up settlement, right? I'm not talking about colonization the way we do it. We do it purely through instinct, right? They did it through using their own intelligence, through basically sharing, teamwork, and basically negotiating in order to, settle like one big happy family. Rather than bickering, arguing, and whinging about how life is just making them feel quite shitty. I don't think they were those sorts of beings compared to us. So that's very interesting to see that. That's interesting once again. Okay, and I'm just going to show you once more. Yes, very interesting, isn't it? Very interesting. Okay, very interesting connection. We humans, yes, I'm talking about us, have a very, very long, long way to go. We've barely scratched the surface when it comes to understanding the nature of these species' minds, let alone their view of our world. They obviously knew what they were doing during their comfortable settled times, wandering our planet at their own accord without interfering with the magnetic field structure and natural sound vibrations echoed through nature. Our planet Earth serves like a compass for them, a direct line of communication stretching far into our galaxy to call home at any time, day or night. These highly intelligent species or beings cared a great deal for this planet by nurturing the lands we've exploited for our own instinctive purposes, by not allowing any outside intervention to corrupt the natural balance this planet generated through pressure and time. It is understandable that their technology of today is certainly no match to ours. We cannot continue ignoring the impossible when they are made possible by letting go of denial, self-doubt, and preconceived ideas that everything is as it is and cannot be changed, all because we feel left out, cut off, alone, and thus making us feel empty. All we have to do is to keep an open but observant mind to get a clear insight to learn diligently what these wonderful species left behind for us, a magnificent marvel of curious artifacts and their ingenious knowledge that is pointing us in the right direction. In time, we will be ready to journey onto a new frontier, space, to let our curious and enlightened minds awaken our sense of adventure, to voyage out into the unknown, taking with us our trusty iPad with one message we so commonly say over the telephone. Hello. That's all for now.